Welcome to Bunch Formation, your new favorite college football podcast. I'm Chris Vannini, and I'm ready for my corny dog this weekend.
I'm excited for you, Chris. Fletcher's only, Chris. Don't go to the other ones, just Fletcher's.
I know.
I know you're a food pill guy. Chris, if I find out you got a corn dog that was not a Fletcher's corny dog, I will find you. I am David Ubben, and I have no problem tweeting out Drake May highlights, even though I didn't actually do it, but that's okay.
Yeah, folks, we got a big, huge weekend of college football, but a smaller show here for you guys. We're actually recording this earlier in the week. As you're listening, I am at Tulane. David's got stuff going on this week. We couldn't Matt, we just didn't have time to do the normal full show in the middle of the week. So we're just doing picks today, and we're doing this earlier in the week. So there may have been news that happened during the week that we missed. After we recorded this, we will address it on the Monday show if we get there. But wanted to do the show.
If the giant meteor hits Earth, I hope this doesn't come off as insensitive, Chris.
That's true too. But we wanted to do this, wanted to make sure we got into picks because, man, this is a loaded week. This might be the best weekend of college football for the third time this year. It feels like the third time I've said that.
They're all good. I just never get tied up. Like, when there's big games, there's more anticipation. But you know that on a weekend like last weekend, when there's a bunch of teams, ranked teams going on the road, like, yeah, it's going to get weird. Of course it is. It always does. So I think I don't really parse through like the big weekends and the non-big weekends. The big weekends like this have more anticipation, but the regular weekends, like once you get to Saturday, like there's going to be some people, with some real lemon booty going on. So, every weekend is good.
Every weekend is good, especially this one. If you haven't checked out the show notes, we got timestamps in there if you want to jump ahead to various things. Because there are ads put into the show, you may need to jump ahead a minute or two. Apologies for that. Also, something I keep meaning to say on the show, but don't. If you happen to want to sponsor this podcast, please reach out to bunchformationpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We've just kind of started this thing up. We partnered with Blue Wire. We got some ads that slide in, but we got lots of things you can sponsor on the show. If anybody wants to be involved, please reach out. We got a YouTube comment the other day from somebody who wanted to donate money to us. So this, it reminded me to say that if you want to sponsor the show,
aspiration, call us, please call us. Give us one of those kawaii deals.
Yes, please. Bunchformationpod@gmail.com. Also, you can find us on all the social medias as Bunch Formation. We are out of Apple 5-star reviews, but we do have a 5-star comment on Spotify from Marley, who says, absolutely love the show. Thank you for covering the sport coast to coast. I think that kind of coverage is what's missing today. Thank you. Talking about the group of five. And also, could we maybe get an FCS game of the week pick? This is an Oregon fan who says, go Ducks. Also 5 stars for the pod. Maybe. We probably should. I probably should have read that full comment before I posted it in the notes because I don't have an FCS game of the week to add right now. But this is something we will try to add.
The problem with this, Chris, is like I don't get to watch a lot of FCS. Like when the playoffs come on and there are standalone games,
I don't have any idea what I'm talking about.
That's why I don't cover it, is because I just don't get a chance to really watch them. But I do like when the playoffs start and they have standalone games and they're on ESPN. Like I do watch the FCS. So it's nothing against the FCS. It's just like there's a lot of games going on. So
all right, here's the game we're picking: Presbyterian at Butler. We've talked about Presbyterian earlier. They're 5-0 this year. Butler's 4-2. Big Pioneer Football League matchup, non-scholarship football. David, who do you got?
No Gordon Hayward for Butler. Kevin Kelly gone from Presbyterian. You got to go with the Blue Hose, right?
I'll go with Presbyterian as well. Thank you for that, Marley.
Keep it rolling.
Every 5-star review, comment, or email, we will read on the pod. So thank you, everybody, because we read all this stuff and we really like hearing that. All right. And with that, we're going to jump into, there's no news we're going to talk about, so we're just going to jump right into the picks.
This is for all the Tostitos.
And first off, David, you and I tied in our picks again last week.
Of course we did.
For like the third straight week.
And we were on opposite sides on like 3 or 4.
We were.
Yeah. So
yes, but you for all the hating you do on Louisville, you picked them in that game to cover last week. I saw, and Virginia covered. So we are tied. Our record is still tied on the season. Loser has to order Uber Eats from another restaurant to a restaurant. But ever since we made this decision, we have tied every week. So if I don't know what's gonna happen if we get to the end of the season and we have tied. Maybe we both.
Well, I think we both have to order. I have to do Burger King to a McDonald's, and you have to go to a Taco Bueno and order Taco Bell.
Or we go to one Burger King, one McDonald's, and we order to the other one, and we reverse it or something. I don't
like that idea. Yeah.
All right. First thing I wanted to mention on games this week. By the time you're listening, it's either Thursday or Friday, so they would already have happened. But we've got Weekday Conference USA really starting this week, and I know because they sent me a T-shirt. I'm wearing the T-shirt. If you can see on the YouTube, it's got all the games on the back.
It's a little literal for my taste, Chris. Conference USA Weekday.
Something I noticed though, they put it on the field, or at least they did at Delaware. I saw at midfield logo, they got Weekday CUSA underneath it. So I like Conference USA leaning into the October midweek games. We love our football. I don't want to go to Prime Video to watch something. Give me something on CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, most of the coaches like it. I've asked around, like the MAC and some of the CUSA coaches, like they don't mind it. Like they usually give the teams a bye when it starts, when you are flipping to it, you do it. But they like the stage. Listen, in the MAC, it's hard to get crowds at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday when it's 30 degrees. So it is what it is in terms of the stands. But I think the programs do like those standalone spots, and I watch them. So I'm able to see a lot of those teams that I can't watch everything on Saturday. And those teams kind of go down the totem pole.
The nice thing about the Conference USA, though, it's not freezing cold outside because it's October. And so they've actually gotten pretty good crowds. So anyway, that is that. All right. Biggest game of the week, Big Ten game of the week. Indiana, number 7 Indiana at number 3 Oregon. Oregon's a 7.5-point favorite. Game is at 3:30 Eastern on CBS. The over-under total for this game is only 55.5, which really surprised me. I think we could really have a shootout here. I think both these offenses are really, really good. Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, two quarterbacks who could be in the Heisman conversation, are getting Heisman votes in our staff Heisman straw poll. I think my question is, which is weird to say given what we've seen from Indiana, but can Indiana keep up with Oregon? Because I think Oregon's going to be able to score a lot. What are your first thoughts on this game?
I'm worried about Indiana's offense traveling a little bit. You know, I think Oregon's defense is better than Iowa's, and Iowa really had them in the mud. And but the question that I have is, okay, if you're playing Iowa and you don't feel threatened by their offense, does that affect how you play call and how aggressive you are? I think we will learn that. I suspect the answer to that is yes. If you're Indiana and you go into that game and you say 24 points probably wins us this game, I think that affects how you call it. 24 points ain't winning this game at Oregon. And so I'm intrigued to see what they do there. We have not seen Indiana acquit themselves super well against elite teams. I believe Oregon is an elite team. So I'm going Oregon here. They were off last week, right? So they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this. I think Indiana was off as well. Yeah. So, you know, Dan Lanning in these big games has not done fantastic. Obviously, had a lot of time to prepare in the Rose Bowl. That did not go well. But I'm going to go Oregon here just because I don't know that this is the Indiana team that's going to compete against elite teams. We just haven't really seen that. So give me the Ducks.
I think it's possible at the end of the day, this Indiana team is better than last year's team.
It's possible.
But the schedule is just harder, so you may not be 11-1. I'm going to go Oregon to win and cover. 7.5 is a lot. If it was 6.5, I'd feel a lot better, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also the classic Big Ten team traveling out to Pac-12 territory, and that often just does not go well historically. Oregon at home is an absolute machine. And I think Indiana's a good team. I just think Oregon is clearly one of the 3 best, and I think those 3 best have kind of separated themselves. So I'm going to go Oregon as well.
It should be noted, Chris, also that since Curt Cignetti got to Indiana, they haven't really played a lot of really like big time atmospheres. Last year, the only road games they had at UCLA, at Northwestern, at a bad Michigan State team, and then they go at Ohio State, lose by 23, at Notre Dame, lose by 10. Now you go to Oregon. I like Oregon in this big time, and I don't think this says a lot about Indiana. I think Indiana is good, but I think it's going to say a lot about who Oregon is. I think Oregon's going to show who they are on Saturday.
Yeah, I moved Miami up to number 1 this week in place of Ohio State. It's very possible at the end of the weekend, Oregon is up to number 1.
Yeah, I don't know that Oregon has the resume, but I definitely believe that if you want to make the case that they're the best team in the country, I think you can make that case. You just can't do it with the resume. But yeah,
no. But if you manhandle Indiana, maybe you could. So
maybe.
All right. SEC game of the week: Alabama, number 8 Alabama at number 14 Missouri. Alabama's a 3.5-point favorite. This game is at noon Eastern, ABC. That would be 11 a.m. local time. David is going to be there.
I will be there.
David, what are you most looking forward to here?
Besides the Shakespeares and Booches, you mean? I think that's right. Chris doesn't know anything about that.
No idea.
I don't think I've been to a game at Mizzou since like 2000, the Oklahoma game in 2011. I think was the last time I went to a game there. I've been up there a couple times, but
it's 14 years.
Yeah, the last time that there was 2 top 15 teams in the AP poll playing in Columbia. Do you know when that was, Chris?
AP poll top 15 Columbia 2007?
No, shout out to the Smashing Pumpkins. It was in 1979, Chris.
Holy cow.
Been a while. I know. And Mizzou's has some pretty good teams. This is going to be a really, really interesting game. This is one, Chris, where in what world does Alabama see this as like a big game? I just think the number doesn't really mean much. Meanwhile, this is one of the biggest home games that Mizzou has played in a long time. And I think this game smells a lot to me. Do you remember when Texas went to Arkansas in like Sam Pittman's year 2, something like that? And after the game, Sark was like, we did not know what we were walking into because they just culturally, there's just some stuff here. Bama plays in a lot of big games. Nobody's scared of Missouri's atmosphere, which is better than people think it is. The stadium is what it is, but the atmosphere when they get going is good. I suspect that Bama might not know what they're walking into here in terms of just motivation. You've got a team coming off of a bye week. I mean, I think the Tigers win this outright. Bama is good, improved, but still mortal. Missouri is good here. Ahmad Hardy is going to be tested. But Missouri is just a solid team. I think they get the job done in this game.
And you've got a story on Ahmad Hardy on The Athletic, right?
Yeah, it's he's a really fascinating guy. And it didn't really make sense to me. You know, coming out of high school, he had offers from some local JUCOs and Louisiana Monroe, and like Southern Miss was like kind of interested in him. And he went to Louisiana Monroe as a freshman All-American, went in the portal, and now all of a sudden, you know, everybody wants him. And now 2 years after nobody wanted him, he's in the thick of the Heisman race. He's leading the country in rushing. He's got, 5 consecutive 100-yard games. You can't tackle this guy. He's unbelievable. And if you haven't watched Ahmad Hardy, which I think a lot of people have not, get ready. You cannot tackle this guy. He just doesn't like being hit. He wants to deliver that punishment. So again, I think between the environment, between the motivation, like Missouri joined the SEC to get games like this, and they haven't had a lot of games where it's like 2 legit teams. And I think the crowd, the team, Bama might be mortal. Bama might not be what Bama was, but I think when you look around the SEC, beating Bama still means what it did. And I think there's a disconnect there.
In a top 10 Alabama at
sure
to that point too.
But top 10 Alabama has been a disappointment for,
no, but I'm just saying like it's
years.
A top 10 win. And I do wonder, like, with as bad as Drew Aller has been playing at Penn State, I've been having the conversation. Would it have been better if Drew Aller left and Bo Pribula stayed? Which one is it? I keep saying
Pribula. It's not like fibula. If you're thinking about a bone,
that's what
you're
I'm
incorrect.
Of.
It's Pribula. I know it's confusing. Anyway,
and so, like, this might be a big Bo Prabula game.
Mm-hmm.
They win. Him and Ahmad Hardy, you start talking like Heisman Trophy conversation, like early October type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder as well, Alabama coming off a big win on the road, an 11 a.m. game. Do you get off to a bad start? I think Missouri's going to be ready to play this game. I think Alabama may come out a little bit sluggish.
Yeah.
Because of those. Like you said, the environment, maybe you look down on it a little bit.
You look at every other Alabama win over Vanderbilt in history, and it's like flicking a gnat off your shoulder. They're getting in like post-game fight. Like clearly Alabama put some stank on that one. Like that meant something to them to one, shut up Diego Pavia, two, the revenge factor from last season, the late cover, say about that whatever you'd like. But that game clearly meant something to Alabama. I don't know how coming off of that you get them invested in the same way. And that has been a problem. And if it doesn't feel like a big game, it's a big game to Missouri. This game means a ton. And Missouri, last year, first legitimate opponent they played, Texas A&M, embarrassed them. Nobody really thought about them the rest of the season. And that's not to say they should. But I think that's a motivator coming in here that Missouri hasn't played any elite teams. And they also, it's October, Chris, and Mizzou has yet to play a game away from Faurot Field.
Yeah, the schedule, very nice. Yeah. One thing about Alabama, they did start to run the ball well, finally. Jam Miller had a good game against Vanderbilt.
Him getting back and getting healthy has been huge.
Yes, I wonder if having that in the offense now will help, because the first handful of weeks, even against Georgia, like they could not run the ball at all. I wonder if that part of the offense is getting better. I'm going to go Alabama here. I don't feel great about it.
You shouldn't.
And I'm wondering, like, I'm not saying I think this is old Alabama, but I do feel like they have found a rhythm here. And we'll see. We'll see on that. All right. Oklahoma versus Texas. Number 6, Oklahoma versus unranked Texas. Going from preseason number 1 to unranked.
Have you ever had a fried Snickers or
hold on, let me finish this. Texas, a 2.5 point favorite. Game is 3:30 Eastern, ABC. I will be there. David, sorry I interrupted you.
Have you had a fried Snickers and or fried Oreo before?
I get the fried Oreo before the game every year.
Okay, I respect that, Chris, and that satisfies you. That feels good to you. You get the fried Oreo.
I've talked to a number of people over the last 2 weeks in college football around the Oklahoma and Texas program. Some new people there. I have a story this week, by the way, in The Athletic about Oklahoma, the investment they made, Jim Nagy coming in, Arbuckle, Mateer, everything that Oklahoma doubling down on Brent Venables to get it turned around. I got a story this week in The Athletic. Check that out. But a lot of the people I talked to who are new at Oklahoma had never been to Red River before. And so they were like kind of excited to experience it for the first time.
It's awesome.
The Texas State Fair in Dallas on the fairgrounds. The fairgrounds are a disaster that the city had to kind of retake back from this private company, but they've upgraded the Cotton Bowl Stadium. And I'm very excited to see that. Apparently the press box seats are better instead of being the things that are bolted into the floor and you can't move. That stadium is like 1980s level, was like not good, but it's been renovated, so I'm excited to see it. But it's such a unique, Red River is one of those bucket list college football environments, because you're just like, you get out of the stadium and you're in a swarm of even more people than you were in the stadium. It's really fascinating. I have no freaking idea what is going to happen in this game, because Arch Manning sucks and John Mateer is not playing. Neither team can run the ball, and both defenses are really good. The over-under in this game, I forgot, want to say like 40 something. They are not expecting a high-scoring game here. It is 42.5.
Yeah, that's about right.
Is the over-under. Texas a 2.5 point favorite. Like, I don't know. Like, Michael Hawkins looked fine, but it was against Kent State, so I don't know. Michael Hawkins replacing the injured Mateer. Doesn't seem like Mateer is going to play. Hawkins, he's a year older compared to last year. He's got much better receivers and tight ends around him than he did last year. And you have a just a better offense, I think.
Mhm.
So, like, it's possible. It's very it's not out of the realm of possibility we come out of the weekend saying Michael Hawkins played better than Arch Manning. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No. This game's always kind of unpredictable.
Always.
You really like every outcome is on the board in this game, like every single year. No matter how these two teams come in. And I don't know if it's necessarily specifically a rivalry thing as much as just these are always two really good rosters. And you can play, these college football teams is what makes the sport beautiful, are not static entities. Like you get different outputs every single week. And so I don't know what to expect here. This is sort of a Michael Hawkins game for me of like, can you sort of break through? Can you erase some of he put some bad tape out there last year. You hit on some of the reasons why that might have been.
Including against Texas. I was at that game.
Golly, that was horrible. I watched that game while stuck in traffic at LSU for quite some time last year. But that was horrific. But that was a much better Texas team. And a Texas team that had a lot more confidence in its offense. And a quarterback that was probably not going to be shook by the defensive scheme. Arch doesn't look confident. Arch doesn't look like he knows where he needs to go with the ball. Does not look decisive. You got to think Brent Venables is licking his lips a little bit here. Michael Hawkins needs to not make big mistakes. He doesn't need to be Superman. But I'm very curious how the defense can make Arch Manning look in this game, or if we get an Arch Manning narrative flipper, because I'm not sure that's in the chamber yet for Arch. But I think if I'm Brent Venables, I feel like you got a lot of stuff that you're about to show Arch that he has not seen on tape in studying for Oklahoma.
Yeah, like Brent Venables taking control of the Oklahoma defense this year. They have been unbelievable. This is maybe the best defense in the country. They are leading in a ton of key stats.
Mm-hmm.
Considering how much Florida was able to get to John Mateer, was able to get to Arch, Florida was, Oklahoma's going to have that pass rush on. So it's kind of wild in this, by the way, to have an unranked team favored against number 6. And obviously the injury is part of that. If John Mateer's playing, Oklahoma's a bigger favorite.
Probably like a 5-point favorite, I would say.
Yeah. Man, this is not something I would ever put real money on. This game always every year, but like this is the third. I have this in my Venables story as well. This will be Brent Venables' 4th Red River game. This is the 3rd time he's going in with a backup quarterback. Like that's just tough because Dylan Gabriel had been knocked out his first year. The second year, he won the game with Dylan Gabriel to Nick Anderson in the final minute. Then last year, Jackson Arnold's hurt. You lose with Michael Hawkins, and now John Mateer's hurt. So that's a real tough way to evaluate Venables' tenure as head coach because a lot has been changing every year. I'm gonna go Oklahoma because usually I think the quarterback situation will be more evener than previous years. And this game never goes the way you think it's going to go. So I'm going to say Oklahoma.
So my former colleague, Barry Trammell, Oklahoma legend, you know how he picks this game, Chris? Have you talked to him about this?
I actually have not. Barry's great. I don't know how he picks the game.
He picks this rivalry is so streaky that he just picks whoever won it last year. Because you've had some weird runs. Texas won 3 in a row when Mack and Stoops kind of just got started there. Then Oklahoma ripped off 5 in a row. Then Texas won 4 out of 5. Then Oklahoma won 4 out of 5. Then they split for a couple years, and then Oklahoma won 4 in a row. Texas has now won 2 out of the last 3. I think Sark might have something here that doesn't require Arch to do a lot. I'm going to go Texas in this game. And I think it feels like the odds makers are begging you to take Oklahoma here and say, oh, Texas is out. Texas sucks. You might get a Texas rally here coming off of the Florida disappointment, going on the road. That environment is always great if you haven't been, beyond the state fair. It's 50-50 right down the 50-yard line in the middle of a section, no aisle. It's burnt orange on one side. It's so it always feels kind of like a bowl game.
It's way better. That's way
game.
That's way better than the way Florida Georgia does it, dividing it in the end zone.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yes, and of course Bevo hangs out on the burnt orange side. The teams come out of the same tunnel. Everything about Red River is incredible. If you've never been, it should be on your bucket list. But give me Texas here. Sort of a get-right game against an Oklahoma team that's going to have to figure some stuff out on the fly. Longhorns, get it done.
I'm kind of wavering on my pick because it's very possible. It's very possible Michael Hawkins comes out and just is terrible because against a really good Texas defense, and Texas gets right, in Oklahoma backup quarterback blown out 2 of the last 3 years.
I love the under. I will say in that game, I do
like the under
pick for our picks, but the under is looking spicy. But give me Texas.
I'll stick with Oklahoma just because I'm tired of us tying every week. All right. Group of 5 game of the week. Yes, one of the biggest games of the week here. Number 24 South Florida at North Texas. North Texas, a 1.5 point favorite. This game is on Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN2. I will be there tomorrow night, Friday night. This is fascinating. Both the North Texas is undefeated, 5-0. South Florida has 1 loss to Miami, but they've beaten Florida. They've beaten Boise State. The American is going to have a crazy second half of the season here. South Florida, we know Byron Brown, really good passer, really good runner, really good team overall. Although USF was a bit sloppy against Charlotte. North Texas undefeated, but they haven't beaten a team better than 89th in my rankings. Army, because they've beaten Washington State, they killed them. Western Michigan, Lamar. Like, there hasn't been much there. But I do think North Texas is a lot bigger. The thing to know about North Texas, if you followed them at all the last several years, they have a really fun offense and a really terrible defense. I think they fixed the defense this year. They brought in Skylar Cassidy, the defense coordinator from Sam Houston. He has that side of the ball playing a lot better. They got a ton of turnovers against Washington State. I'm kind of surprised North Texas is favored here. I'm actually really surprised North Texas is favored here because USF has played a much tougher schedule. North Texas QB Drew Mestamaker, you might remember him from the bowl game last year against Texas State. He hadn't started a game since like freshman year B team in high school. He's a really interesting story and
good player too.
Good player. This should be a really fun game. I'm going to go USF because I think they're more battle tested and I think they're the more complete team, but I could go either way on this.
Yeah, this feels like a talent wins out game. North Texas not being better than they have historically is one of the more like confusing things in college football. I think like if you've been up to Denton and seen their facilities, Chris, right? Like
really nice.
Really nice facilities. They don't have a ton of money necessarily, but you're in Denton. You're not far from the DFW Metroplex. Like they don't get a ton of bounce back transfers, but Eric Morris seems to have gotten them. My guy Dan McCarney had the best season in North Texas history. Won 9 games. I forget what year that was, but took him to the Heart of Dallas Bowl 2013. Took him to the Heart of Dallas Bowl and won. They hadn't been to a bowl game in like a decade since the Daryl Dickey days. We are on a collision course for the best North Texas season, certainly since then, perhaps ever. But I just don't know that they have the pieces here. South Florida, the American is like more separated in terms of talent than you would think, and USF and Memphis are near the top of that. Tulane as well, and it's been tough for North Texas to compete. So this line is confusing to me. I'm going to take South Florida outright here. North Texas just hadn't played anybody like this, and certainly not like offensively. I do think this could be a shootout. South Florida, the defense has been all over the place. I wonder how much of that is injuries. But, yeah, when Charlotte's putting up the kind of numbers that they were, I've seen Charlotte's offense in person twice. It's not great. They scored 3 points against North Carolina's defense, if that tells you anything. So that concerns me, but I think this is going to be a shootout. I think South Florida survives.
Total on this game is 67.5. So
that seems low. I got to tell you.
Maybe. ACC game of the week, real quick. Pitt at number 25, Florida State. Florida State, a 9.5 point favorite. Game is at noon Eastern, ESPN. Florida State, can they bounce back from the crushing loss to Miami, 2 straight losses. Can they get off the mat? Pitt may have found a new quarterback in freshman Mason Heinzel, I think is how you say it. But this kid's 18 years old, had a huge game as they destroyed Boston College 48-7. Credit to Pat Narduzzi for making the change before things kind of started to spiral out of control, because he's someone who was kind of stuck with things a bit too long sometimes. 9.5's a lot. It's hard to know if the Pitt thing was just because they were playing Boston College or what, but interesting game here and what is otherwise a down week for the ACC.
Yeah, there's always like a handful of results every year, Chris, that are just kind of like, what happened there? And looking at BC trailing 48-0 to Pitt, it's kind of like BC, they lost 3 games in a row to not great teams, but they were competitive in all those games. And then watching them kind of fold against Pitt, that doesn't bode well for Pitt. Florida State is not going to fold. They're going to have a much better roster. This line is begging you to take Pitt. Give me Florida State and the points in Tallahassee.
I'm going to go Florida State as well, but I'm a little concerned FSU could start to tailspin. How do you get them out of a tailspin? Because Mike Norvell couldn't do that last year. The hangover from 2023, missing the playoff, was so incredibly real. He could not gather that team and pull them out of it. So,
well, but did what they did in the second half against Miami not impress you? Like Miami had their foot on their neck, and they kept on fighting and kept on playing. And I wouldn't say they came close to winning that game, but it was competitive, and they kept fighting and kept playing. And we saw so many times last year, Florida State in the middle of games letting go of the rope. We didn't see that against Miami.
Yeah. Pitt is just a team every week. Like, you don't know what you're going to get week to week with Pitt. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. Big 12 game of the week, number 18, BYU going to Arizona. BYU a 2.5-point favorite. This is at 8:00 Eastern, ESPN2. This is by far, finally, the best team BYU has played this season. Arizona's 4-1, I think. And BYU's defense looks very good. Like, for all the other concerns, what they have, who they played, who they haven't played, all this stuff, I think BYU's defense is very good. I think when Jake Retzlaff had to leave, we all kind of took BYU out of our Big 12 contenders, list in our head. But I think they're right back in there. And this is the test of like, all right, like this BYU team that I have not ranked very high because they haven't played anybody, and they get mad at me, the fans. Are they actually in the mix? Because you got to go to Arizona and win if that's going to be the case. So this is going to be an interesting one against an Arizona team that seems to have gotten back to being competent under Brent Brennan in his second year.
Yeah. Did you see BYU Friday night, Chris? How much of that game did you watch?
The first half, maybe. I think I didn't see.
Bear Bachmeier, man, they got something. Like
he
is a true dual threat quarterback. He does both things pretty well, but he was dropping some dimes. And we're talking about a true freshman in here. He looks, 15. He's definitely green, but the arm talent is there. We have not bullied him into changing the number yet. Yes,
deep ball is very good.
He's a good player, and I think BYU is one of those teams that, like, I've watched them enough. I don't really care who you've played. You're a good team. And Arizona's a little bit like Louisville for me. I'm like, I don't necessarily see it. Like, you say they're the best team they've played, and to some, like, on paper,
that's because Colorado and Oklahoma State, or sorry, Colorado and West Virginia are the next two closest.
I know, but like, you could talk me into Colorado, a competent Colorado, a good Colorado performance, being a better team than Arizona. When I've watched Arizona, I just have not seen it.
Sure, but also Colorado's a 3-point game down to the very end.
I know.
They did keep it close. So,
but 4-1 is 4-1. I just am not a believer in Arizona. I am a believer in BYU. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Texas Techs and the Utahs of the world, but they're really good. I think they're going to be in the conversation. BYU wins this one, I think, by double digits.
I'm going to go BYU as well, just because I've picked Arizona before and it very much has not worked out. So yeah, we're picking very similar again. This is going to be a problem. I think all we picked different. No, I guess we did Missouri, Bama, and Red River. We've been different on a couple of them. All right. Number 1, Ohio State at number 17, Illinois. noon Eastern on Fox, big noon. Ohio State, a 14.5-point favorite. Illinois, they get that blowout loss at Indiana, but they come back for a big win at home against USC. They beat Purdue last week in a very weird game. Purdue was able to hang around and keep it closer for a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I do not know what to make of Illinois' defense, but I do think the offense is pretty solid. Ohio State, 14.5 on the road is a lot. That's a lot for a ranked team on the road. They've already gone to Washington, played a little bit ugly, but covered. What do you think?
I don't know what Illinois is, but I know what Ohio State is. That's a team that understands what they are. I think they've got a case as the best defense in the country. They're up there, man. They just don't have bus. They're super, super disciplined. And they had Minnesota wanting to go home on Saturday. Ohio State is not particularly fun to watch.
Never.
I don't really enjoy it necessarily. Like Jeremiah Smith has been fine, but like that offense is not just throwing it around the yard. They've kind of, I don't want to say this, it's going to sound meaner than I mean it, but they sort of babied Julian Sain a little bit. Like they're not asking him to do a ton because they know, hey, we got a pretty good running game. Bo Jackson's kind of emerged as our lead back. Our defense is what it is. This just feels like a sort of a joyless, just choking out of Illinois, like a 31-10 sort of game. Give me the Buckeyes on the road.
Yeah, Ohio State's defense is so good. Like they haven't allowed a touchdown in the red zone all year. I don't think they've allowed anybody to get to nobody's gotten to double digits. 7-0-9-6-3.
There you go.
They've allowed. Did Washington kick field goals? When's the last time they allowed a touchdown? Was it Texas? Was it the only touchdown they've allowed? Because Ohio was.
I don't believe Minnesota.
No, Ohio scored a touchdown. So they've allowed 2 touchdowns on the season. And we are in October. So I'm going to go Ohio State as well. Like you said, I think they just kind of choke you out. And Julian Sain, like, he's being very safe with the ball. Like, he doesn't throw he doesn't make these terrible decisions where you're like, oh my God, he's had a bunch of picks that were dropped or something like that. Like he throws catchable balls and makes sure it's not going to be bad. And I think that's very good when you're kind of just saying like, all right, we don't need you to go out and win the game for us. Just don't lose it. So I'm going to go.
There's 3 teams in the country that have given up fewer than 7 touchdowns. We already know Ohio State wins. You know who the other 2 are?
Oklahoma.
Do you know who the third one is?
Louisiana Tech.
Indiana.
Interesting.
2, 3, and 4, and everyone else in the country has given up at least 7. So there you go.
Interesting. All right, Florida at number 5, Texas A&M, 7:00 Eastern, ESPN. Texas A&M, an 8.5-point favorite. This is another game that in real life I would not touch because I, at this point, do not know what Florida we're going to get week to week. Because we might remember a year ago, Texas A&M destroyed Billy Napier in Florida in the swamp. We had the Billy Napier fired pre-writes ready to go, and it didn't happen. And that was was that the first Marcel Reed game? Was that the one where he kind of like jumped out? It was like in a downpour or something like that. And David, as the number 1 Texas A&M guy on this podcast, what do you think? What do you think?
Do you trust you're going to get 2 good Florida games in a row?
That's the question.
And I think people underrate the swamp because Florida is. It's a little bit like Kyle Field. Like people don't respect Kyle Field and they don't respect the swamp because their teams have not been very good. But like it's really hard to go down there, and when good teams go down there, it's not easy. And Texas learned that. Well, now you're going to Kyle against probably the Texas A&M squad with the least amount of nonsense that we've seen in quite some time. Listen, I've been waiting for Florida to sort of show up and give us we're playing up to our talent game. I think we got it on Saturday. We're not getting it 2 weeks in a row. We're not getting on the road in Kyle. Aggies win this game comfortably.
A&M's defense has been very, very good since that Notre Dame game. They've allowed 1 third down conversion in the last 2 weeks. Florida does have Dallas Wilson now. That was not something that was factored in early in the season. That does maybe change what the offense can do. But I do think Florida on the road is a problem. Lagway throwing 5 interceptions at LSU, destroyed by Texas last year. When I think of Florida, whoa, look what they did. That's happening at home. This is on the road. I'm going to go Texas A&M for that reason as well. Georgia at Auburn, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Georgia only a 3.5 point favorite at Auburn, which is 3-2. What do you think?
Georgia's on the list of they're like in Illinois for me, where it's just like I don't know how good you necessarily are, but I still have a lot of questions about Auburn's ability to protect. It's feeling a little toxic-ish at Auburn. Chris, I also think, we're talking about SEC venues. I think Jordan-Hare is like a little bit overrated. Like, they play the Iron Bowl every year, every other year there, and everybody's watching that because it's a standalone game, and Bama always has really good teams. That rivalry is what it is, and it's ramped up. Jordan-Hare is not. I just don't think it's like as great as people generally talk about it in terms of environment. Give me the Bulldogs to win this game and cover. I like a lot. I've been riding a lot of the dogs this year. I've been liking the favorites this week, Chris. I don't know why that is exactly.
Auburn's defense, I think, is really good. And it's been interesting to listen to Hugh Freeze basically said a couple of weeks ago, like, we need to commit to running the ball more, even if it's for 2 or 3 yards, because they're just not giving the ball to the running backs. And I went to the Baylor game in week 1 when they ran all over Baylor. And Hugh Freeze says after the game, yeah, that was kind of tough because of the receivers we have, basically saying, I want to throw the ball, but I know I should run the ball. And I wrote after that game, hey, if Hugh Freeze realizes his mistakes and learns from that and can stick with this, I think this could be a special year. Well, guess what happened? He didn't learn from it. He's throwing all over the field. Jackson Arnold is taking sacks galore. And so I think coming off of a bye, I think Auburn's got a good game plan. I think they can keep this game close. I just don't know if offensively they have enough. Georgia has already gone to Tennessee and wins. I think Georgia wins. 3. I mean, if this was like 7 points, maybe I'd pick Auburn.
Yeah.
But 3.5, I'll 3.5, I'll take Georgia.
It will be competitive, but I think Georgia swears them down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. All right. Michigan at USC, 7:30 Eastern, NBC. USC, a 1.5 point favorite. My thoughts on this game. I think USC is going to be able to put up points. And I don't know if Michigan will be. I think they will. They ultimately did against Illinois. There was some weird stuff on the road against Illinois, but this is USC at home. I think they'll be more comfortable. I think they can put up the Michigan-Wisconsin game was weird. Like, the Michigan offense is not there yet. Maybe they found something with Donovan McCulley there, or what's his name? I think it was McCulley, whoever the wide receiver. But I don't know if Michigan can just keep up, essentially. Even though USC's defense is hit and miss, I'm going to go USC covers on the road. It covers only 1.5 at home. I'll take that.
This was kind of the game that it felt like it was kind of turned on Lincoln last year. As an unbelievable loss. They give up that big run.
Should have won that game last year.
They should have won it. I'm curious about that. Going on the road is always intriguing, but I don't know, man. I want to see more from USC. I still have a lot of questions about them. Michigan, I don't know that I trust them, but I think they're balanced enough to get a win here. Give me Michigan to win outright.
All right, good. We finally did something different. All right. Number 21, Arizona State at Utah. Utah, a 4.5 point favorite. This game is 10:15 Eastern, ESPN. This will be the late game you're watching at night. I don't know what to make of Utah. I really don't. Like, they got bullied by Texas Tech at home, and that's kind of the only notable thing that has happened to them. But it turns out Texas Tech may be really, really good. Arizona State week to week is you never know what you're going to get. Going on the road to Utah, we've already seen Sam Leavitt. They lost at Mississippi State. They struggled on the road with Baylor. They won on the last-second field goal, but I think you're a better team. I'm going to go Utah because it's at home, because it's at night.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that Texas Tech game told me that much about Utah. I think it told me a lot about Texas Tech.
I think so,
I think
too.
Texas Tech neutralized the playing at noon helped, but they neutralized the road advantage by just being better on the lines. And Utah is still really, really good. And obviously at night, that's an issue. But Utah wins this game on the line of scrimmage. Utah is really good. I just think Texas Tech is that much better. I think Utah is like a top 15-ish team, and Arizona State and Texas Tech is like a top 5 team. I think Utah starts to climb back up the Big 12 standings, up the polls. Utah wins this game and covers, and just looks solid. Wins it by double digits.
Sam Levitt has not been great this year. Devin Dampier has not been great against good competition, so we will see. Arkansas at number 12, Tennessee, 4:15 Eastern, SEC Network. Tennessee is a 12.5-point favorite. I have this here in part because the over/under total for this game is 69.5. So people are expecting a lot of points. Bobby Petrino's first game as head coach. Arkansas won this game last year. Remember,
yeah, I was at that game.
The bare front type of stuff. David, what do you think?
Well, all that defensive staff got fired. So we'll see how that goes. I just think you got it. There's a revenge aspect here. I think the Vols are a much improved team. Much improved. They're a slightly improved team from a year ago. They got a good shot to get to the playoff. That's a lot of points. I don't know, but I think ultimately Tennessee gets a couple more stops in this game. That net total is high. I don't know if they'll quite get to that. I'm guessing it's in the 60s. I wouldn't be so sure about that, but I think Tennessee wins this and covers just barely.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino coaching for the job, interim coach. Does that change? I don't know. The players, by the way, seemed very, very down about Sam.
Yeah, the vibes were not that bad, like in the facility at Arkansas. It just was like it had to do it. It was time. Like, I don't know that you're going to get the same interim coach bounce like that. Those situations are all unique.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get a situation like Louisville. I think you're going to get a pretty static like Arkansas. I don't think it's like, we've got this beloved assistant that we're going to play for. Like, say what you about Bobby Petrino. I don't know that like he is necessarily the most like fuzzy guy.
He's not getting carried off the field like Jerry Neuhaus.
Exactly. So, it is what it is. But I don't think that you're going to get that interim coach bounce. So give me the balls.
I'm going to go Tennessee too. I'm still not sure how good Tennessee is. I mean, they're ranked 12th. I have them similar in my rankings, but as I look at the resume, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know yet. So if you take care of business here, that's what you need to do. I'm going to go Tennessee as well. All right. As we wrap up picks, we go high. We have the highest and lowest over/under totals of the week. This week, the high is actually not Arkansas, Tennessee. It was very close, but just higher than that. 70.5 UAB at FAU. I admittedly I watched a little bit of Army UAB. I've not watched FAU this year.
I haven't watched FAU really at all either.
They got Zach Kitley, the coach, who likes to throw it around. They beat Rice last week. That's high. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, UAB's defense is not as bad as people think it is. UAB has been okay this year. It hasn't been last year. Yeah. There were some like, what are we doing moments with Trent Dilfer's team. They haven't quite got. They haven't been good, but they haven't been like disaster areas. So that I think you go under there.
The lowest 37.5. Iowa at Wisconsin. So we have the highest is almost double the lowest this week. That's when you know it's good. That's
when we're in the 70s and the 30s. That's what I want to see. We need a game in the 70s. We need a game in the 30s. We've been living in that 60-40 zone. I don't love it. So
Iowa, Wisconsin, this game is always horrible to watch in a fun way. I'm going to go under as well. I don't think either of these teams can move the ball at all.
I think Iowa's team total is over, but is Mark Gronowski playing? I guess we're recording this too soon. We don't know, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet, but obviously he came out of the Indiana game at this point almost 2 weeks ago. But both these defenses are good, by the way. Wisconsin kept Michigan in check. So that's part of the reason I'm picking the under as well. All right, time to finish this podcast. the way we always do, and that is by remembering some guys.
It's better than this. Guys being dudes.
And in the spirit of Indiana being the college game day game this week, I'm going to go with former Indiana quarterback Antoine Randall L. Played quarterback at Indiana from 1998 to 2001. Has that very bizarre Indiana like dark blue logo on the side of the helmet. If you have ever wondered, that's actually Indiana. There was a very short period where they had that alternate logo that was terrible. I know Home Field Apparel brought it back a little bit, and it's kind of vintage now, but it's terrible. Antoine Randall L. goes on to be a Steelers wide receiver for a long time, throws a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl in Detroit. Now the wide receivers coach for the Bears. He followed Ben Johnson over. He was with the Lions. But Antoine Randall L., one of those like Big Ten run-around quarterbacks period where you didn't have many of those guys, and you were just like, whoa, this guy was a problem for everybody. Antoine Randall L. David, what about you?
So I'm going back to Mizzou, obviously, this weekend, and I was thinking about, my freshman year. A young whippersnapper by the name of Brad Smith was under center. Mizzou was people were not happy with Gary Pinkel, or wanted to fire him early on. He kept on. The offense under Brad Smith, like especially kind of early in his career, was hilarious. They just snapped it to him and were like, "Make something happen, Brad." And a lot of times he would. Very good player. Not blessed as a passer. Had like a nice little NFL career as like a return man, and kind of a wildcat quarterback. Made some money in the NFL. But Brad Smith, man, just very fun player. Just like a guy that's just like a quintessential college quarterback. Big 12 freshman of the year in 2002. And what I liked about Brad Smith and Missouri in that relationship? They never tried to make him something that he wasn't. They knew what he was, and they leaned into that. So shout out to Missouri and Brad Smith. Better days for the Tigers, a much more competent program now. So shout out to Mizzou and Brad Smith. Brad Smith, we remember you.
I will say I went an undisclosed amount of time before realizing that Brad Smith was not white, just based on that name.
Yeah, he's waiting
very
for
much
that name to
BYU
be named Brad Smith, right?
That's a BYU quarterback name right there. All right. Remember some guys' nomination from listener David Gillespie, who says, a somewhat recent guy I'm remembering, but Northwestern fans are yearning for the days of Justin Jackson, the ball carrier. Electric and balanced back during the prime Coach Fitz years, Northwestern's all-time leading rusher.
I'd forgotten he was the school's all-time leading rusher. Good player, though. I remember him very much.
Over 1,100 yards for all 3 years, over 5,400 yards for his career. 7th-round pick. Spent a couple of years with the Chargers, a year with the Lions, and that was it. But I remember Justin Jackson. He was one of those Northwestern guys. Normally with Northwestern, it was like a quarterback who was just like, whoa, who is this guy? But they had a running back, and that was very cool.
Kane culture, the unionizer. Our listener had the JJTBC acronym there. I was not familiar with that, but it made me think of, you remember the early days of the internet, the angry Iowa running back hating God?
Yes.
Acronym. There was a run where every Iowa running back was just tearing their ACL, like blowing their shoulder out. They were at one point, I think they had was it 2 consecutive seasons? They had to have a linebacker they were giving carries
something
to?
Like that. Was that every day? Was that an every day should be Saturday thing? It was the SB Nation crew.
I believe it was. It was definitely the SB Nation crew, but they had a graphic, and every time I saw it made me laugh. So,
I remember the angry Iowa running back hating God for sure. Classic college football internet thing from like the early 2010s, I want to say. I think that was. Good times. Anyway, Justin Jackson, Brad Smith, Antoine Randall L., angry Iowa running back hating God. We remember all of you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Apologies. I guess this ended up not being as short of a show as I thought it was going to be. Shocker. But we will have a ton to talk about on the Monday show. I will have been to 3 games. David will have been to 1.
You're stealing my flow, Chris. You're stealing my flow.
I'm going on a plane too. I'm not doing all this driving. So I'm very curious how I'm going to feel at the end of all of this. So
you'll be all right.
Enjoy the weekend. No bunch formation after dark, but we will be back on Monday to recap it all. Thank you everybody for listening. For David Ubben, I'm Chris Vannini. We will talk to you on Monday.
And bring back the turnover chain, please. Next time we're gonna have to remember some gods, maybe. I guess I don't know.